Look at the size of these apples on this young chisel Jersey. It's just 5 years old and already it's producing a good, healthy crop. In this video, we're going to look at how do you get a high yield from young trees. So let's have a look at this young Yarlington Mill tree. It's a 5-year-old tree. It's got a very healthy growth on it and a very healthy crop. If you look carefully, you can see a lot of the apples are very large. This is a cider apple, which we're going to mill the cider. And then if you look across, we've got another tree, Michelin, which has done very well and produced a large crop, again on a 5-year-old tree. We're going to look at how you achieve this. So how have we achieved these remarkable yields on young trees? It all really starts with the soil and the way that we look after the soil. Because we have an aggressive microbiome, because we have a very strong biology in the soil of bacteria and fungi driving the growth of these trees, and because we're very considerate about the way we manage the soil, we keep it covered, we graze it in the winter, and we prevent it from becoming oxidized, all the nutrition that's provided to these trees is coming through bacteria and fungi. That's the most important thing to remember. In through the roots come the bacterial and fungal nutrients, and then we top this up with a foliar feed in the summer 4 times. And because we're so considerate about the feeding, we don't have the problems which we're going to look at next. So how do we get this aggressive soil biology to thrive so well? Well, the inputs that we use are 2 applications of basalt dust in the winter, one in November, another one again in February, and it's just a light dressing around the roots, and that feeds into the soil biology, particularly trace elements which are very hard to metabolize for the tree without the help of the microbiome. But we do not use nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium salt fertilizers, which would destroy that whole system and produce a very erratic kind of growth. So that's an important point. So the problems that we've avoided are, first of all, producing excessive nitrogenous growth, which would then have to be pruned off, which is a waste of time and demands a lot more water than we'd normally want to give. But the second set of problems that we've avoided that are very important are the nutrient ones that control pests and diseases. So we haven't had canker, scab, powdery mildew, we haven't had leaf spots, and we don't get the codling moth and winter moth and caterpillar damage that you'd expect with trees which are very high in nitrates. We avoid all of these problems because we don't use nitrate fertilizers and we're running the trees through a microbiome, which makes the growth very economic to run and very, very simple. So let's have a look at the healthy growth that leads to the big yields that we've been talking about. If you look, this was last year's growth and lots of fruit spurs are forming on that branch, ready to flower in the spring and produce a new crop. Above that, we've got this year's growth, which has given us our normal 30 centimetres of growth. Despite having the worst drought in living memory, we produce very healthy growth with our system, and that will have fruit spurs the year after, and then fruit the year after that. That's what we're aiming at. So the way to get high yields on young trees with this narrow canopy system and our regenerative feeding systems is really all about managing the soil biology and using these very sophisticated inputs, small amounts. Watch our videos on foliar feeding and rock dust to see how we do it.